Leveling up. Extreme business growth through raising your game. When what was once extraordinary becomes ordinary, you know you've leveled up.
Today's episode is somewhat of an oxymoron. The power of now and focusing on the future. A little bit of a dichotomy there for you. Welcome to the Leveling Up Podcast with me, George Swift. The Leveling Up Podcast is here to give you the personal development, the entrepreneurial development, and the business growth that you, the ambitious business owner, desires. I'm here to give you the inspiration, the motivation, but above all else, as always, to challenge your aspirations to take you and your business to the next level. Don't forget, subscribe to this podcast so that you never miss an episode. So I am willing to bet that you have heard on more than one occasion that actually now is the only time that exists, and that now is the time that we need to be focused on, and we need to be present in today, this present moment, in order to find happiness and fulfillment. And somehow that message has got kind of twisted to mean that somehow focusing on the future is bad, living into the future is bad, goal setting is bad. And I'm here to dispel all of those myths. In fact, I'm going to turn it on its head and tell you how by focusing on the future, it gives you the power of now, as Eckhart Tolle would have called it. Eckhart Tolle, I've heard it pronounced different ways by different people. But I think that book, The Power of Now, has got a lot to answer for, because I think a lot of people, they bought into that whole concept of now being present, a Buddhist notion, and therefore they've disregarded whether it's looking in the past or whether it's living into the future. That somehow living in the past is really bad, living in the future is really bad, but living presently in today's world is like the only way of truly being. Well, actually, we've evolved to have the capacity to both reminisce, to look into the past. We've also got the ability to project into the future, and we can see things of the future, and we can predict things, and also we can perceive what things might look like. We can dream. And this is really powerful as well. I think really what Eckhart Tolle was getting at, and I think what a lot of people who are quite anti the future and the past, I think what they're really getting at is when you spend your entire life just focused on what's already happened, when you sit there just contemplating the past or feeling the pain of the past or just living and existing in that past, maybe in terms of negatively comparing the past to the present, those sorts of things. I think, obviously, that's not healthy. Equally, I think what they mean when they say that living in the future is not a good place is when you're living purely in the dreams and purely out there, you know, and you're not grounded in the present moment. However, I'm going to tell you now, living into dreams and living into the future possibility of yourself, life, what you can create, what the world could be, if you do it in a positive way and you're not there fearing the future, but you're excited about the future, well, you're having a very immediate, very present emotional reaction to that dream. So in other words, whilst the vision of the future might be in the future, of course, the vision of the future you're having is actually present. And therefore the emotion that you feel when you're holding on to that vision of the future, those dreams, ambitions, those hopes, those goals, the experience you're having is a very now experience. And actually, we are only existing in the present moment, even if we are reflecting on the past, reminiscing, or if we're projecting into the future, we're doing it from a present place or the present place. And therefore, the present is the experience that we're currently having, albeit we are projecting that into the future and into the past. And if you were to ask a quantum physicist about the past, the present, and future, your head will probably turn inside out as you try and grasp the concept that there is no such thing as past, present, and future. In fact, it all happens now. Everything is happening now. The entire universe, everything that has been, everything that will be, and everything that is all happening in the blink of an eye. In fact, even quicker than that. An instantaneous moment of everything, past, present, and future, all happening now. This moment, this second. In fact, the bit I just said, that's also happening now. And the bit I'm about to say, that's also happening now. So it's 1,000,000 years into the future, by the way, also happening now. And 1,000,000,000 years in the past, that's also happening now. I once heard an eminent quantum physicist talking about this whole notion of time. And he said, what you've got is you've got momentary collapses of possibility into actuality that give the illusion of now. He also talked about how time was a convenient thing to stop you going crazy, that time didn't actually exist and time doesn't exist. And we have the experience of time to stop everything happening at once. We are still trying to work out what the hell actually is the nature of reality. What is the universe? What is time, for example? However, increasingly we're getting closer and closer to realizing that most of it is completely made up. And for the convenience of sanity, we say, right, let's presume it's all real. Let's just presume for the time being that the future is in the future and the past is in the past and the present is present. And let's give ourselves that timeline, okay? Because that's the experience we have as a human being. So therefore, let's work for the convenience of sanity that is all there is. And as far as we're concerned, of course, that's all that we're ever going to experience. We're not going to experience the whole notion of everything happening in one instantaneous microsecond. We're never going to be able to experience that because the nature of us as human beings, how we interact with the world, how we interact with time, how we perceive time and reality, etc. We're going to live in the reality that we exist in right now, the past, the present, and the future. However, the experience you're having is always going to be present. You're not time traveling when you look into the future with your dreams and your goals and your vision anymore than going back and remembering your 10th birthday party. The experience you're having now. In fact, one of my favorite emotions is nostalgia. It drives people crazy. When I go to anywhere near somewhere I've been before, I want to go back and see it again. And I want to reminisce about the last time I was here. I love nostalgia. I love going back to the same place many years later and remembering who I was back then, where I was back then. And, just seeing it again with fresh eyes, because suddenly, how you remember something is not necessarily how it is. And you really remember the little cobbled streets, for example, and you remember this turning left into an open square, these little cafes, and you get there and you realize that your thoughts or your memories of that are completely distorted and actually inaccurate. And I love going back there and going through that whole experience of, remembering where I was, but also re-solidifying the truth, if you like, because only a certain amount of those memories are accurate. And therefore, I like to have that whole experience, right? That's just me. I know it's not everyone. But the point is, when I'm there being nostalgic about being there before, I'm still very much there in the present, having a very present experience. My thoughts and my mind is able to, just go back into the past or again, dreaming about moving forward into the future. So this episode is really about saying, number one, it's absolutely perfectly fine, personally, perfectly fine to look back and reminisce, to have that nostalgia that I personally love so much. It's perfectly okay to go back. And it's also okay to go back and do a bit of comparison. It's also okay to go back and remember some negative things. Just be mindful, however, that where the mind goes, your current experience will follow. So if you go back and you remember the past negatively in the context of today. So let's say, instead of going back to the past and saying, wow, man, look how far I've come, or wow, the world's changed so much since then, but in positive terms, right? If you go back there and say, the world's so crap in comparison to then, well, of course, that's going to give you a very negative experience in the present moment. Of course you are. And of course, we want to have the best possible emotional state right now, right? That's our reality. How we feel right now is the reality that we're living in. How I feel about my life, how I feel about myself, how I feel about my business, how I feel about my past, how I feel about my future. That is the present experience. And we want to have the best possible present experience. So when we do go on our visualizations into the future and we do reminisce into the past, we want to make sure that we're contextualizing that to give ourselves a pleasant, or at the very least, a positive, or at the very, very least, a powerful emotion today in order to have a better day, a better present, and to go on to create a better future. So if I'm looking at the past and I'm thinking, oh my God, I was so young back then, I was so fit and healthy, I'm so rubbish now, I'm going to die soon. If that's where my head's gone, then clearly I'm having a shit time right now. It's not conducive to me right now. It's not going to make me do anything positive right now. And I'm certainly not going to be able to, reflect positively into the future, particularly if I'm sitting there feeling really crap about it right now. However, let's say things were great in the past and maybe you're having a bit of a tough time right now. You could look back and say, you know what, I was so happy back then. I was so free back then. And maybe if you are out of shape right now, you go, I was so fit and healthy and young when I was younger. And if the thought then goes to, how do I create that for myself right now? Or, I'm not there right now in my present life, but it's in me. I can see it's in me because I can see my past and I can see who I was. So I know I'm able to be happy. I know I can be fit and healthy. I know I can be dynamic. I know I can be successful. And then that stimulates you potentially to do something right now in order to create the change for you, right? To create the future. So you're doing something present in order to create a future based on a reflection of the past, even one that maybe isn't necessarily a positive one in the present moment. You're using it as a positive energy in order to create the change to create a better future. If we lived purely only in the present, we wouldn't give a fuck about the past, we wouldn't give a fuck about the future. All that would matter is now. And if you actually get most people just thinking about now, which is where most people's heads are already, they're going to reach for the pizza box, they're going to sit in front of a TV, they're going to think, well, what's the point in anything? You know, what's the point in working so hard in my business? Well, the whole point of working hard in my business is because I'm creating something meaningful and purposeful in the future. Hopefully, you're also getting the present experience of joy. But realistically, why would you work so hard if you were only working for the present? You say, right, you know what? I enjoy this to a degree. I'll do just that and fuck the future. However, we need to work harder than we need to work for the present moment in order to have, whether it's happiness right now or whether it's to create financial stability for ourselves right now. We need to work a little bit harder than what we need today if we're also wanting to set up our future. And the future will come, the future will pass. And if we don't do what we need to today, then the future will not be the place that will offer us what we need in the future. And let's just use money as an example. If I say, right, well, I need £100 a day right now, so I'll earn £100 a day. When I've earned my £100 a day, I'll just quit there and then. I mean, that's how crack addicts and heroin addicts think, right? Which is, I need to get my 4 shots today, or I need to get my wrap today. I need a certain amount of money today. I'll go out and earn that amount of money, find that amount of money, steal that amount of money. And once I've made that amount of money, all that matters is I get my wrap today, and then tomorrow I'll go out and repeat and do it all over again, right? I mean, that's the hunter-gatherer that sits inside every single one of us. However, we have the ability to project into the future, to see further in the future, to plan for the future, to take action now that will pay off in the future. Why wouldn't we want to use that? So it's about minding your thoughts, and it's about minding your mindset and your perceptions and your attitude to make sure that you're having the best possible experience right now, whether that's being present and only present in the moment, reflecting on the past, or positively reflecting into the future. You want to make sure that you're having that powerful experience. And it's okay sometimes to feel a little bit of regret if you fuel yourself on that little bit of regret to go out and create the change you need to change. However, you don't want to be negatively fueled in life. I've talked about this on many episodes. You don't want to be negatively fueled. Now, the fear of not having enough, the fear of missing out, the fear of a harsh future, you know, of a future without any security. We don't want to live in a place where we are constantly having this negative emotional kick up the arse to make us go out and do things. What we want to do is have an incredible experience right now where I feel very empowered. I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now. I'm getting all the rewards in the present moment, in the present day, whilst also building something that I'm really excited about in the future. Does this make sense? And here's the other thing. What do you focus on today and completely immerse yourself in today if you don't know what you're working towards? So if you woke up this morning and just hedonistically just followed your desire, followed your passion, what do I feel like doing? Well, today I think I'll just stay in bed all day. Today I think I'll go to the gym. Today I think I'll go to whatever, right? Well, that might give you a decent enough experience in the moment, but it's probably catastrophic for the future. If you've got teenagers, by the way, like I have, to some degree, that's kind of how they think, isn't it? That's how we thought when we were teenagers. We weren't particularly worried about the future. My daughters are now gone off to university, so for the first time in their lives, they're actually starting to think years in the future, you know? At the moment, however, most of their existence is very present, right? And I spend most of my time saying to them, have you kept up with your work? I know they're keeping up with the partying. I know they're keeping up with the social contacts and the social life. Are you keeping up with your homework? Are you keeping up with this? Are you getting what you need to get in your tests and stuff like that? So I'm still having to prompt them to think about the future, even though they're at an institution right now, which is constantly focused, if you like, on the future, life after university, but they're very much present, right? Today, this week, this month and stuff like that. And that's fine when they're young and that's what people really kind of should be to some degree. However, when you get to a certain point, you have a choice to make. You can continue to live your life in that hedonistic way, or you can start to focus on future goals. You can start to focus on what you want to create in the future, what you want to build in the future. However, of course, you don't want to sit there powerless in the present, dreaming about a better future and not doing anything in the now. We want to make sure that how we're focusing on the future drives positive experience in the present and drives positive action in the present that gives us rewards in the present, whilst also moving us towards this incredible future that we're creating. And there's a balance here to be found. It's about making sure that your reflection, whether it's present, future, or past, gives you a present, empowered experience that fuels you to have rewards in the moment, to do things right now that make you feel good and to feel good about those things, whilst also building something in the future simultaneously. How do we do that? It's about having dreams and having goals, and then it's about having plans. And a lot of people, they feel that somehow these things are contradictory in nature, that somehow setting goals is contradictory to being present. Having a dream is somehow contradictory to being present. That having a plan or a strategy that you're following is somehow counterintuitive to being really present in the moment. Whereas being present in the moment is all about being totally immersed in what you're doing right now. So right now, this is what I'm doing, this is the experience I'm having, and right now, this is all that really matters. Well, you get to do that when you have a dream, when you have goals in place, when you have direction, when you have a strategy, when you have plan. Because when you've got your plans and you've got your strategy and your goals, you get to set out your day the night before, you set out the week and the Monday morning, you get to set out the month on the first of the month, you set out the year on the 1st of January. And then what that means is today, right, what am I doing today? What am I doing right now? What am I doing for the next half an hour, 1 hour? And actually, that gives you the power to be completely present in what you're doing. Most people, what they're doing is they're having one meeting at 9:30 in the morning, whilst also thinking about their next meeting, while also thinking about the email they read before they came into the meeting, whilst also thinking about whatever issues they might have in their personal life, while also thinking about, I don't know, going to the gym later or their shopping list. And most people, they're not present in this moment because they're not organized in the moment. Now, I'm not saying, by the way, that all the people that sit there and say the power of now and disregard the future of the past, I'm not saying that's what they're saying. I'm just saying how a lot of people sometimes interpret that notion of being completely present now. So when I know what I need to do today in order to achieve what I need to achieve this week, in order to achieve what I need to achieve this month, this quarter, this year, which is in alignment with what I'm trying to create as my future dream, I no longer need to think about the dream. I no longer need to think about the year. I no longer need to think about the month. In fact, I don't even need to think about the week, and I don't even have to think about today, because if I have, good day planning, a good diary, for example, all these things that sometimes make people feel that they're somehow completely contradictory to the idea of being present in the moment by having a whole day planned out, for example, what it does do is it enables you to look at your timetable, to look at your diary and say, right, now I'm with this person for the next 60 minutes. It's in the diary, it's planned, it's in alignment with all my future. I don't need to think about anything else other than this meeting, this person for the next 60 minutes. Or these emails for the next 30 minutes. Or running this seminar, or running this sales meeting, or delivering this pitch, or creating this product. Whatever it is that you do, you can be completely immersed in that moment because you did the work of looking to the future and what you want to create in the future, the life you want, how you want to be, the business you want to have, knowing how to break that down into goals, breaking those goals down into smaller goals, breaking those smaller goals down into a list of actions or a plan, breaking that down into your diary, breaking that down into a timetable, breaking that down to right now, this moment enables me to be completely present. So in fact, you only have to do a little bit of work in order to think about your dream. You only need to do a little bit of work to convert that dream into year goals, and from year goals into quarter goals to month goals, potentially into weekly goals or weekly to-do lists, from that into a day plan. And then you can just live your day moment by moment. You don't need to think about the future because the future's already been thought about. It's already been taken care of. It's taken care of because the action I'm doing right now is in alignment with what I need to achieve this week, this month, this quarter, this year, this lifetime, and therefore I can leave the future where it is, and I can be completely present in the moment, in the present. And then whenever I want to reflect into the future, I can feel good about the future because I can see what I'm creating. If we were talking about a gym routine, if we're talking about your health or your physical body, this is the equivalent of if I live only in the moment and I'm only present, I'm only thinking about right now, it's possible my brain will cheat me into sitting on the couch eating pizza when really what I need to be doing is going down the gym and building my health, energy, vitality, and life longevity of the future. That's what I should be doing because the future will come. And if I treat my body like shit today, day after day after day, then clearly my future is going to get shorter and shorter and worse and worse. So I need to invest myself into my future health. So therefore, I force myself to go to the gym, sometimes even when I don't want to go to the gym or swimming or running or whatever your thing is. You force yourself to do that because you know that you're investing yourself into the future, which makes you feel good about the present. Otherwise, why would you save money in a bank? Why would anyone save money in the bank? If I take £100 and stick it in a bank, or take £100 in coins and stick it in a jar, or tuck it under my mattress, it doesn't do anything for me. If I take that £100 and I go and blow it on some technology, or blow it on music, or blow it on films, or blow it on a night out, I take that £100 and I get something immediately in return for that. If I stick it under the mattress, put it into an investment, or put it in the bank, or whatever else you do with it, turn it into gold and stick it in a safe, it doesn't do anything for me. I get nothing from it in the present. But you do, don't you? Because you get the feeling that you're setting up the future, and you feel good about setting up the future. And actually saving or investing feels good right now, because actually I'm enjoying the act of saving this money, not spending this money frivolously. And therefore I feel good about the future I'm creating, which makes me feel good about who I am today, which gives me a very present, positive experience of what I'm doing right now. But it's not a natural state for us to take that £100 and stick it in a savings account or stick it in investments. Much more natural, take that £100 and go and blow it on something that's going to give me some kind of hedonistic experience right now, right presently, in the moment of now, right? That's the most natural thing in the world. Investing it is something that's in us, but it's nowhere near as powerful a driver as that immediate experience. And we know this to be true because, when I've been super critical about mega global corporations or big product brands and their marketing campaigns and stuff, so much of it is, don't worry about your health in the future, shove the chocolate in now. Don't worry about the future, eat more McDonald's now. Don't worry about your teeth decay, shove in the sugar right now. I mean, that's what marketing is about. It's not saying, oh, you know what, make sure you eat your sweets responsibly. It's not about that. It's saying, right, how can I get someone to shove as much of my product down their throat as possible, even though we know statistically the damage we're doing to society's health. They fucking know this. McDonald's, Pizza Hut, the sweet manufacturers, the chocolate companies, all the junk food manufacturers, they all know what they're doing. They all know the statistics. I think it's like 12 million people or something every year die from junk food alone. 330,000 people directly attributed to fizzy drinks. Predominantly, let's be honest, it's the Coca-Cola company, right? Like 330,000 every single year die from it. Then you've got cigarettes and tobacco. In fact, the three of them, cigarettes, alcohol and junk food, is responsible for, I think it's 21 million deaths every fucking year. 21 million deaths. Get your head around that. Think about the statistics going around in the last 12 to 15 months around COVID, for example, right? And then try and fathom if those numbers are terrifying around the world. And if you're thinking, how we've been sold, how bad that is, multiply that multiple times to 21 million every year. This is not one pandemic that comes in and should pass through. This is something every single year. It's getting worse and worse every single year, and we're killing 21 million people every single year, and it's getting worse. Junk food, tobacco, and alcohol. How those companies sell their products. Now, fuck the future. If you think about the future, you'd never eat my product. If you're thinking about what this is doing to your waistline, what this is doing to your liver, what this is doing to your lungs, what this is doing to the cells of your body, what this is doing to your health, your future health, your future vitality, that what you're doing right now is shortening your lifespan right now. Right now you're shortening by eating that, smoking that, drinking that. You're going to die younger than you would have done had you not done it. If you start thinking into the future when you start consuming this shit, you wouldn't consume this shit. So when we live in this hedonistic concept of only focusing on the now, it's very easy then to get caught up in all that bullshit, which is that hunter-gatherer evolutionary past that we have that's still inside every single one of us, which is, who gives a fuck about tomorrow because today is really hard? Who gives a shit about next week, let alone next year? Because I've got to get enough food right now just to feed myself. Right now just to feed, my children. But we have this incredible ability as human beings to project into the future. And that's what's given us our incredible power, this foresight, to be able to predict what might happen in the future, to be able to predict what we might need to have in place in the future. It's a powerful one for our individual survival and obviously that collectively as a society. What we want to look at here is we don't want to live in the future in a negative way, live in the past in a negative way, and we don't want to live in the present in a negative way. What we want to do is we want to be able to time travel, time warp from the past to the future to being present. And we want to have a present quality experience that is empowering us to do what we need to do, that gives us immediate reward that we might need to train ourselves on, train ourselves away from eating the pizza and eating the salad, train ourselves away from the television and into the gym, go against some of that evolutionary now mentality and actually start investing ourselves in the future, then feel good about that investment in the present. We're having a present experience as we're building something for the future. Then we bring in good goal setting, good planning, good strategy, bring in a good diary. Think of it more like a timetable, like your kid's timetable, always say that, simplify it. So between this time and this time, this is what I'm doing. Then I'm having a short break. Between this time and this time, this is what I'm doing. Then I'm having a short break. Then I'm having a lunch break. Then this time, does that make sense? And you have this really organized diary, and then you don't need to worry about anything else because you've done all the thinking about the future. You've got your strategy for your health, for example. So now I'm in the gym, I just have to worry about what I'm doing right now. Make that experience as good as I possibly can. I go to the gym, I don't have to worry about what's coming next. I don't have to worry about what I'm doing in the future. I don't have to worry anything. I can just go in there and run on the fucking treadmill. I can just enjoy that moment. I can go down there, lift some weights, enjoy that. Go in a pool, swim, enjoy that. Go and sit in the sauna. Whatever you do, enjoy that moment. It's the same in your business. I can sit here and do sales and I can enjoy this moment. I can sit here and record this podcast and I can enjoy this moment because I allocated this time to do it. If I hadn't allocated this time to do it, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, when am I going to do this podcast? I've got to get this podcast done whilst also being present with a client or a bunch of clients like I was this morning just before recording this. The same clients are coming back for an afternoon session in just, 15, 20 minutes. And I'll be thinking about them, I'll be thinking about the part, and I wouldn't be here with you. What I've done by having a well-planned diary that aligns with my goals, that aligns with my future dreams, it enables me to take this half hour to spend quality time with you and only think about you and only think about this message, and I don't have to think about anything else. I'm having a wonderful experience doing something that I really enjoy. But you know what? If I was living just purely now, without any future focus, would I have done this right now? No, I wouldn't. I'd have finished my morning session, gone in the house, probably stuck the TV on for an hour or something, watched some nonsense, eaten some food, come back and done what I was going to do. If I didn't have the plan in there to have these clients today, you could bumble yourself through one day to the next without being productive in any way, shape or form. Then suddenly you start to have the experience, the present experience of aimlessness, the present experience of, what's the point in what I'm doing? What's the point in my life? Goals, future dreams and ambitions, they bring purpose to the present. They give me focus and direction that makes me feel good about what I'm doing right now. I'm getting the reward of doing what I need to do right now, even though if I was living in some hedonistic lifestyle, well, I only did what I wanted to do and I wasn't thinking about the future at all, maybe not even reflecting on what's happened before, so not learning from the past, I'd live my life in chaos. And one day you'd wake up and your life will have been cut short. You'll wake up and you'll have ill health. You'll wake up and you'll have no future security. You'll be 70 years old and you'll have to work forever. You'll have to downsize your house. You'll have to do X, Y, Z in the moment then, and it'll be terrible, be a horrible experience in the future. We have the ability to not only see the future, but to build the future. And if we can enjoy the moment right now, through all the means I've already shared on this episode, then it's a win-win. I'm building something purposeful and meaningful for myself and maybe the people around me, maybe even the world around me in the future, my legacy, if you like, whilst also having a fucking good time right now doing it. Feeling really purposeful, really motivated, feeling like I matter, my life matters, my business matters, what I do matters. I get to enjoy the investment I'm making today, even if it's uncomfortable. Going down to the gym, lifting weights is uncomfortable. Getting on the phone, making sales calls, it's uncomfortable. But when there's purpose behind that, meaningfulness behind that, when you can see the connection between that activity and this incredible future you're creating for yourself, you get the present experience that you need in order to enjoy that moment whilst also investing that moment in the future. Nice one, guys. Thank you for listening. As always, get your dreams in place, convert them into goals, convert those goals into smaller goals, take those smaller goals, create a plan, have a strategy, convert all of that into a diary, convert all of that into day planning. I like the idea, like I say, the kids' timetable, so that now you get to focus purely on this moment. Right now, I'm lifting weights, enjoying it. Right now, I'm picking up the phone, I'm enjoying it. Right now, I'm doing this, I'm enjoying it. I don't have to think about anything else, be completely present in this moment right now. knowing that it's in alignment with creating this exciting future. It's a double whammy. If you want to find out a little bit more about our success groups, then please go to biggerbrighterbolder.co.uk. Our success groups, underpinning everything is goal setting. So it's one of the smallest things we do. You know, we don't focus on it all the time non-stop. However, everyone that joins our club, they all set out their year goals, which are in alignment with their longer term goals and objectives and dreams. They then break those goals down into the quarter, break those goals down into the month, and then they create their day plans, their week plans, whatever works for them, so that they can continually make sure that the activity they're doing now, what they're focused on right now, is creating the future that they want to create. And if that future for you is to grow your business and create the lifestyle that you want to have, then please do go and check us out, biggerbrighterbolder.co.uk. If you want to speak to a real human being, email Tracy Miller in the first instance. You can reach her at tracy.miller@biggerbrighterbolder.co.uk. I'll drop those links in the descriptions of this episode. I'll also put down some other resources to help you on your ongoing entrepreneurial journey. Please do go and check us out. Either way, I will see you here next time. Until then, as always, be successful.
Leveling up. Extreme business growth through raising your game. When what was once extraordinary becomes ordinary, you know you've leveled up.